Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. I was watching a video the other day. It was on the YouTube channel of Historical Board Gaming. It was Doug from Historical Board Gaming. He made a video about some of the upcoming things that he's got in the pipe that are going to be either this year or early next year. One of them was a set of units that you need for Global War 1936, and it just shows you all the different units and like he's showing you the designs and everything, and he's gonna get that made into 9 different colors. So the 8 colors that you use to play Global War 1936, plus white in case you wanted to use them for any of the neutrals as well. So anyway, that's pretty interesting. That should be out around the same time, maybe just after the game comes out. We're hoping that the game will be out by Christmas time. Anyway, he also showed a Russian set. He wants to get a Russian set out after that. And like, there's already a Russian set that he has on Historical Board Gaming, but it's an early war Russian set. So this would be more modern stuff, like if you have any of the units like I have from the Russian super weapons. I think there's a couple of those in there. Anyway, there's lots of different Russian units that'll be coming out, including ships as well. I think battleship and light cruiser. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff in there. And also another French set. As you know, they just came out with a French set this year, but he wants to come out with another French set as well, and that will be the units that aren't out. Like, you need a lot of units for Global War 1936, right? And so this will fill in all those gaps. So there will be a light cruiser and a heavy tank and a light tank and motorized infantry. There's another infantry sculpt there as infantry with a machine gun. So there's it looks really good anyway. But I encourage you to go to Historical Board Gaming's channel there, YouTube channel, and check it out, because he shows you the designs that he's using and everything. It gives you lots of information and stuff. So I thought I'd make a video because there's also something else that he announced, and it's something that's on the website right now, and it's for sale right now, although not in stock just yet. He's just taking pre-orders, and that's why I'm showing you this map here. That's the America game, right? Now, if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, you know that I'm always looking to help out my subscribers by finding good deals and cool units and things like that, you know, like wherever I can find them, whether it's on HBG or whether it's on Shapeways or Combat Miniatures, or, you know, like some of the custom infantry. I'm always looking for places to point people to. Anyway, one of the things that Doug also announced was that he's putting out some America pieces for sale. Now, before, what you had to do was buy the America game, and there's 3 factions, right? There was the Japanese faction, there's the American faction, which was green. The Japanese were burnt orange, like you expect Japanese to be. The Americans were the light green that you're used to, and then there was the Germans. Then the Germans were gray. So that didn't quite fit if you wanted to use them in your Global War 36 game or in your Axis and Allies game. Because those the pieces for those German games are probably black, right? And so if you wanted those pieces, then you had to paint them. And it's kind of a shame because they were really, really nice pieces, like really, really top shelf. I've always raved about them ever since I got this game, America, that these pieces were a step above anything that I'd seen out there. Just the quality is really good, right? So anyway, what he did not long ago for a pre-order was he put out American pieces, but in a tan color, so that you could use them for the British, right? And coming soon, he's going to put out the Japanese. That's going to be in a gold color. But right now on the website, what he's done is he's put in the German pieces in black. so there's no painting or anything. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, you know, whatever, but that's all right. But then he said how much there were. Like, I was talking to him the night before he made this video, and I couldn't believe what he was putting on there. And, you know, like, he might have just sloughed it off if he's seen his video the other day, or he's seen his post on Facebook. Oh yeah, they're putting on American pieces, that's cool, you know, in black, that's all right. But look at how many American pieces you get. Like, I've painted mine black, and so I wanted to show you what a good deal this is. For $40, you get all of these pieces. Like the ones over here on this side, that's the Bring in the Heavy set. Or wait a minute, no, the Bring in the Heavy set is over here. This is the out-of-box German pieces over here, and the infantry. This is a ton of pieces, and like I said, really, really good quality pieces. What's cool is if you've shopped there before, many of you have, you get 5 things no matter what they are. Like, could be 5 chips, or it could be 5 tanks or infantry or whatever. You get 5 of them for $3.45, which is about 70 cents each, or 70 to 75 cents each, right? Whereas this, he's selling 82 pieces for $40. So it's less than 50 cents a piece. It's about 50 cents. But these are really, really good quality units, and I use them for my global war game. Like these pieces over here, this is the out-of-box stuff, right? So you've got your tanks here. I like these tanks better than the Axis and Allies tank. Here, let me just show you the Axis and Allies tank. And these pieces are not black normally. These are ones that I've painted black. So there's that tank, and there's the Axis and Allies tank. Like this one is just so generic, you know what I mean? It's just kind of generic, right? But this one, it's got a lot more detail in it, right? Like you can actually see the tracks and everything. It's got a really nice shape to it, right? So anyway, I use these just as medium tanks. They have rules on the HBG site that you can use these for the global war game, but they're slightly different, right? So these ones here would actually be a heavy tank, I think, but I don't use them like that. The out-of-box pieces I use just as replacement pieces, or for these, like I just add to my stash of tanks, or for something else. Like here, there's a self-propelled artillery, right? So that's going to be new in the game coming this year. And they do have a self-propelled artillery piece, but it's not nearly as nice as this one, right? And this one here says a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. Now that's not something that's coming in the game, but you could still use it as well if you wanted to. You would just use use the numbers that you use for an anti-aircraft gun, and then these would go 2 spaces instead of 1, and you would just add $1 to the cost. And then you've got your heavy tank here. This is an E100 heavy tank. So there's your heavy tank. And then this is the mechanized infantry. These mechanized infantry I use for the advanced mechanized infantry. Like that's a totally different sculpt from the Axis and Allies mechanized infantry, right? So that's how I differentiate my mechanized infantry, is by using this. Like this, if you were to buy this set for $40, you're almost done collecting your German pieces. There's no boats in this set, so you still need a couple of boats and a couple of planes, and then you're done. But I think the ground units, you're probably just about completely done, because look what else you're getting. Like here's jet fighters, right? So there's the jet fighters that you're gonna get. These ones over here are strategic bombers. These ones back here, like you see the ones that have the red markings on them, these are because I used them already. So these ones here, they're actually something else, but I just use them as my heavy bomber. And then the infantry here, these are Panzer Grenadiers. And so I use them as Panzer Grenadiers in my Elite of the Reich set. So like here, I've actually glued them right onto chips. This is a Panzer Grenadier. And so like it's supposed to be a mechanized infantry, but it doesn't matter what it is, right? Like these guys were actually Panzer Grenadiers. This is how they dressed and everything. So this is a really good unit, and that's in the base game. This is not something weird that you would be throwing in your game. That's just an base thing. But anyway, like that's just the out of box ones here. Then you get your bring in the heavies, and I'll go through what these things are. Now these things here, let me just show you this chart here. Like if you were to look in the expansion sets, you'll find the Might of the Reich, and this is how you use these pieces. Not for the America game, but for Global War 1936 to 1945. Of course, you can use them for America as well. That's what they were designed for and built for. But you can also use them in Global War 36. What they were was either late war technology or technology that was on the table and then the war ended, so they didn't get around to building it, right? You know, like if the war would have ended a couple of years later, then you probably would have seen these weapons in there. So you use them for 1936 to 1945, but they've got the stats for them and everything. But there's usually something more you have to do. Like these things here, these are really cool. I use these. These are a fixed wing thing here. So that's what are those called? The Horton HO-229. Now that thing there, you can use as a fighter or a tactical bomber. In the same game. I'm just like at the start of your turn, you say this thing's going to be a fighter this turn, and or in the next turn, well, this thing's going to be a tactical bomber this turn. And what it does, it'll take on the characteristics of a fighter or a tactical bomber. Really, it's just whatever kind of armor ordnance they put on the thing before you took off, right? And in the what is that? The fighter expansion set, there's actually a plane kind of like that. It's an Italian plane that can be used as either as well. You just state up front when you take your turn, this is going to be a tactical bomber this turn, right? Or this is going to be a fighter. So if it's a fighter, it's got an attack and defense of 4. It's got an interception value, attack and defend at 8, interception value of 4. It moves 4 and it costs 12. So that's a pretty good deal, but you have to develop jet aircraft and have built 3 jets already. So like you develop jet aircraft on the technology chart, and then you build 3 of these jets, and then you're allowed to start building these things after you've done that first. And most of these pieces are something like that as well. Like you don't just start building these pieces in 1936, right? Because they were advanced pieces. So this thing back here, this is pretty cool too. This was a long-range strategic bomber. So it's available. You have to develop jet aircraft again, and you have to develop long-range aircraft. So once you've done that, then you can use that thing. And it has all the capabilities of a strategic bomber. The difference is you're going to move 9 spaces. So rather than 6, you're going to get to move 9 spaces. So that's the thing about that, and it's going to cost 13. So that's even cheaper, I think, than a heavy bomber, right? But a heavy bomber would get 5 dice, whereas that is still only 2 because it's just a regular strategic bomber. So this thing here looks like a tank destroyer, right? But it's actually a tank, and so that's the VK 4502. Now, what you have to do is you have to get to stage 3 of heavy tank technology. So, like if you play the game, then you know there's 4 stages to developing technology, right? So once Germany gets to the 3rd stage, and they start at the 1st stage, so you really only have to roll 2 successful dice to get there, and then you can start building those. And then when you do, like a regular tank will attack at 6 and defend at 5, right? This thing attacks at 7 and defends at 6. So it's +1 attack and defense, and it can blitz. Like you can use it like a medium tank, and you can blitz with it. And that's these things right here, and you're going to get 4 of these things, right? So that's pretty cool. And it only costs one IPP more, so $1 more than the tank. And then you get these things here. This is the big behemoth. This is the Moss super heavy tank. Now it's a big, slow tank, right? I'm not sure that it would be all that useful, you know, like it's not very versatile, right? So it only goes 1 space. It attacks at 9, but it only defends at 4. But it only costs 9. I mean, it could be worse than that. It could cost more than that. So it has a target selection of 1 to 2 on armor, and it can't be the subject of target selection by other ground units. So other ground units that have target selection, you can't target select that big Moss tank. Now this thing here is a light tank. This is a VK1602 Leopard. It's an advanced light armor. And normally a light tank in Global War 36 is attack 4 and defense 3, right? So this thing attacks 4, defends 4. It also costs $1 more, like it costs 5 instead of 4. But this thing can actually blitz. Even though it's only a light tank, it can blitz. So that's pretty cool. And you have to develop, again, get to the third stage of heavy tank technology, or sorry, heavy armor technology to develop these, or to purchase these. But still, that's a big upgrade on light tanks. And then you got this big behemoth. Where is he there? Oh, this thing here. This is the Jagdtiger E50. Now that's an actual tank destroyer. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong page. Sorry. Yeah, that's just the Jagdtiger. That's this thing here. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Nope, I was right before. Yeah, this thing here. This is the Jagd E50, and it's actually a tank. It says, or no, it's a tank destroyer. Sorry. The difference with this tank destroyer. Is its size, of course. Like you have to develop 3 heavy tanks, so you got to develop 3 Tigers or King Tigers or whatever. Then you can start buying these things, and they only cost 8, so the same as a Tiger tank would cost. They attack and defend at 8, so that's the same as a Tiger tank. They can blitz, and they have a target selection of 1 to 2. So there you go. That's this tank destroyer here. Now this one, getting back to this one here, this is also a tank destroyer. Oh, look at that. I got one of these E100s mixed up in there. You get 4 of these, not 3. I'll just sit this here. So it was a heavy tank destroyer, and so what you have to do again is you have to develop heavy tank technology and build 3 heavy tanks. Then you can start purchasing this one here. Now it attacks at 7 and defends at 7 and costs 8. So it costs the same as a regular heavy tank does. It can't blitz, but it's got a target selection of 1 to 3. And it says that it has first strike if there's at least 1 enemy armor class unit that is a viable target. So there you go. That's instead of blitzing, he gets first strike and target selection of 1 to 3. Now this one here, this is one of my favorites. Where is he? These guys right here. This is the King Tiger, or the Tiger 2. So that thing there, you have to develop heavy tanks and complete its construction of 4 Tiger tanks, 4 regular Tiger tanks, right? It attacks at 9, defends at 9. It costs 12. And it can blitz, and it's got target selection of 1 to 3. So it's very, very powerful, but it's also very expensive to buy, right? Like 12, that's twice as much as a regular tank is, right? But you're attacking at 9 and defending at 9 instead of 6 and 5. And you've got that target selection. So, man, if you had a few of those, you could roll through the Russians' lines now, couldn't you? Now this last one here is this strategic bomber that I showed you back here. It's also the same bomber that's in the America project. It's another expansion set. So there's a Japanese one and an American bomber. And what they were was really, really long-range bombers. So you use it like a strategic bomber, but it actually moves 24 spaces. So you can take off from Berlin, go over and bomb Washington, and then land in Berlin again, I think, probably. I don't know, I haven't counted the spaces up, but I mean, that's certainly what it was built for, was for flying over and bombing America and making it back to Europe again. So I'm sure there's at some point there you can go back and forth. And it's just a standard strategic bomber. It costs 18 though, so that's a lot. But for me, like I just use it as a regular bomber because it seems kind of unfair to everybody else that you have a bomber that goes 24 spaces and theirs only goes 6, you know. So you know, it's up to you, right? And then there's another way you can use that as well. That's if you use it as a maritime version. So it attacks at 5s and defends at 5, and again moves 24, but it only costs 16. So you have to have long-range aircraft to do it. Oh, I forgot about that. The other one, you had to have long-range aircraft and build 3 long-range aircraft first, right? Then you can build that. Same with this if you're doing it for maritime use. So basically what it is for going on combat air patrol. It defends against attacking aircraft at 1, but anyway, it's for protecting your convoys. It's 3 as a convoy raider, a +1 bonus if you're a convoy raider. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff. I don't think I'd use it that way anyway. I'm kind of paraphrasing a bunch of that. To me, you know, I wouldn't build one of these to be to go on combat air patrol. You know, spend $16 to do that, right? But anyway, that's great. So it's up to you how you use these pieces. Like I said, if you were to get these pieces and you had your Axis and Allies pieces, that's just about everything you need to do to complete your German set. Now this is just the last page in the expansion set, you know, where it tells you what to do. Like there it is there. I got an extra one made up and I got it, you know, put in plastic and everything. And so I know what it does. You know, like and there's the other America pieces, right? There's the Japanese and the American ones there. So you can use these pieces from the heavy set. You can use them in the game. You just have to follow the rules. And when you do, like, you just have to talk to the other players before the game. It's like anything. Like, are we going to play with Turkey this time? You know, are we going to play with Croatia, or are we going to use fighting railways? Like, it's a negotiation before the game begins, maybe even days before the game begins. You know, texting each other back and forth. What expansions do you want to use? You just negotiate this one in if you're the German player. Say, I'd like to use my America pieces, right? You know, and you might have other people might have America pieces. Like you might have the British ones and the American ones as well. And so there you go. They can use theirs. It's just a matter of whether or not you're allowed to play with them in the game that you're playing, right? But if you are, then that's great. And if not, then they work good. Like I said before, I'm using these for the long range, the heavy bombers. I'm using these for my jet fighters, and you know, I'm using these for my self-propelled, you know, and I'm using heavy tanks. Like this is I got a lot of the stuff from these sets, from the out of box set here and from the heavy set. So it's a really, really good deal, I'm telling you. If I didn't already own all this stuff, then that's probably what I do. And I didn't bother getting the British one because I've already got all the British units that I can, you know what I mean? Like I already had jet aircraft for them, and I already had all kinds of stuff. And in fact, some of them were America pieces that I painted tan, you know, so I didn't really need that one, and I don't need this one either, so I'm not going to buy it. Because as you can see right here, I've got them all. This isn't all of my America pieces. I've still got a lot more than that, right? I'm just showing you what's in this set because I think it's such a great deal, especially if you're trying to get into Global War 1936 and you're wondering, where do I get all the pieces, you know? Like these guys here, just think about it. Like I'm using them for the Panzer Grenadiers, but you could use them. You could use them for mountain infantry, or you could use them for Marines. You know, like you could use them. They're a different infantry sculpt than the other ones that you have. You could use them for whatever you want, right? So that's the cool thing about that. And you could use these just for regular light tanks. Like you don't have to follow the rules that I talked about there. These could just be your light tanks. These could just be your tank destroyers, right? And there's all kinds of options there for heavy tanks, right? So anyway, it's up to you though. He said that he expects to start shipping on November 15th, but you have to pre-order. And there's a couple of these units, I can't remember, you'd have to watch his video, but there's a couple of these units that are not going to be available except for in this set if you buy this set from him. I can't remember which ones they were. Something tells me it was these aircraft that could go both ways. Those Hortons was one of them. I'm not sure, but when he sells out of this set, finishes the pre-orders and ships them out, then they're not going to be available to buy 5 at a time, like he will probably do with all the other pieces afterwards, right? So if you want all of these pieces, you're going to have to buy this set. Anyway, I thought of you guys. I thought it would be important enough just to let you know this is a great deal, and especially a great deal, and it saves you a lot of searching around for where am I going to find German this and German that, right? Like, I mean, these things here, it's a great idea to use for the advanced mechanized infantry. You know, it's a completely different sculpt than the other one. So, you know, that's great that you have these options. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I wanted to finish this video because I also got a map in the mail today. It's the new version 3 map. It's not quite done yet. It's I just took a sneak peek inside the tube there, and the colors were really vibrant and everything. So I can't wait to put it on my table, and that's why I'm going to cut this video off now. So take care, everyone. Tanner Hand Grenade out.